Welcome to the MLB Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines, coming to you from the West Coast. Josh Lander, joined by my guys Nate Weitzer on the East Coast and Mo Nawara out there in the Midwest. And we are looking at only 2 games at night here on the slate for us to talk about. So we're just going to get into a couple of those. And then we are going to give you a few other bonus pieces of content here in terms of some futures that we will look at, a couple of things we like for some MVP odds, as well as maybe some World Series stuff, etc. So we will get into some of that as well after these games for Thursday night. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page so you continue to follow along with us as we bring you these videos each and every weekday of the MLB regular season for now. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or a DraftKings account, head to FDPicks.com or DKPicks.com. Find those listings in your area, such as what we've got for tonight. Nate, let's get into it.
2 games, a whole 2 games to choose from if you're betting at night here. It is a slow Thursday, but an interesting one, I'd say, for sure, with the Cubs at the Braves. Cubbies getting plus 150 on the money line, higher in some places. And with Kyle Wright going for the Braves, Drew Smyly for the Cubs, total is 8.5 runs. Then we have the Diamondbacks on the road throwing Humberto Castellanos against Dakota Hudson. Plus 150 are the D-backs, and that total is at 7.5. I know Mo's just going to talk about how much he loves his Braves and their new ace, Kyle Wright, but I think I'm on board with that, and I want to throw some confidence behind Drew Smyly a little bit in terms of his ability to keep that Braves lineup off balance. I mean, he's barely allowing any hard contact this year, and he really seemed to figure things out while he was with the Braves towards the end of last season. His last 8 starts here in some tough spots, like at Coors, at San Francisco, some of these relief appearances, but just not allowing much at all. And I think now he's transferred that over into this season. Blank the Pirates on the road, blank the Rockies. I think the Braves lineup not as good against lefties, soft throwing lefties in particular, that can keep them off balance like Smyly. So I would take an under here at 8.5 runs, especially if Kyle Wright is as good as Mo says he is.
Yeah, I'd love to know how good Kyle Wright is, so I know how excited I should be right now. It's really hard to say, really. My joking thing is he the best pitcher in the world? I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm kidding, but good luck finding somebody who's pitched better than him so far this year. All his ERA estimators start with a 1 or a 0. He's getting like closer level swinging strikes, walked 2 guys. He used to be a huge walks guy, and he has 2 walks in 17 innings, hasn't allowed a single dinger. I mean, I have already said in the past on this show that I'd given up hope on him, but maybe something has clicked because he is pitching at an incredible level, but it's like such a small sample that I don't know how far up I'm supposed to bump his talent level. The computer projection systems are still really skeptical. They have him still north of 4. I think we got to be more aggressive than that. I think the market is being more aggressive than that when I see this line. I just don't know if is he like a 3.7 ERA? Is he like a 3.3 ERA? Is he a 3 ERA? I don't know. And I'm trying to be a little bit conservative, but if he's anything close to this, I think this total's too high. The Braves bats have sucked so far. And I'll be honest, I had no idea Drew Smyly made 23 starts for the Braves last year. My memory of him was that he was injured a lot. So, I mean, I definitely did not remember him making this many starts. And he was decent in them, although not as good as he was the year before. I was pretty excited about the Braves signing him last year because he was so good in 2020 in a really, really small sample, but he lost some of that velocity and was just like, okay. But yeah, with how bad the Braves bats have been, I do kind of like the under here. I mean, Kyle Wright has been an absolute monster. So I just like, when does the other shoe drop? I don't know, but I'm obviously hoping it doesn't, but he looks really good so far.
Yeah, and I would say that maybe there, due to the fact that you admitted your memory was a little bit hazy on how much Smiley even pitched with the with the Braves last year. I feel like you do probably have some of that memory bias in terms of not thinking that he's as good as he really is, because he probably is. So under 8.5 runs does feel good. I know you were mentioning on the video yesterday that you are a bit concerned that maybe some of these runs are going to start to actually inflate rather than what we have been seeing so far. But I still think, in this one we can expect an under as well. So let's just kill the other game here tonight that we have at nighttime on the slate. We've got the D-backs headed to St. Louis, as we mentioned, taking on Humberto Castellanos. So we've got a minus 175 on the money line there for the Cards, Nate, and a total of 7.5. What are you looking at here with the Cardinals team that we know does have a much better offense at home?
I think you got to go with the run line if you're going to bet it. Yeah, I mean, you're not getting any value at close to minus 200. And the Diamondbacks, I mean, if this does turn into any sort of slugfest, the Diamondbacks aren't going to be able to match anything. They're dead last with a 182 batting average, slightly better on the road in a small sample size this year, but we're still talking about a team that lost a record 24 straight road games last year, and they've lost 5 of their last 6 at St. Louis, 9 of their last 12 overall to the Cards. Dakota Hudson, I mean, he's the same old pitcher, right? High ground ball rate. It's not as high as last year, but it's still 54%. He's basically held batters under a 13% line drive rate the last 3 seasons. Victimized a little bit by the long ball, but Arizona's not a team that's going to beat you deep too much. If you can keep the ball down and let that Cardinals infield do the work, I think Hudson can eat up some innings here, which is what the Cardinals need after that tough series with the Mets. They just need a solid start, and then they can hopefully let their offense do the work against Castellanos, who just seems like a wild card at this point.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect anything good from him. So, but like you said, the line is so high. If I did have to bet this game, I think I would either play over or minus 1.5. I had the line as fair. Like you said, minus 1.5 doesn't seem terrible just because, I mean, the total is not that high, but I kind of think it's maybe a little too low, but it's tough with a bad Diamondbacks offense in that St. Louis park and that St. Louis defense. So I just honestly think it's kind of fair and not one I'm too interested in playing.
Well, then let's make things a little bit more interesting. Let's take a look at some futures since we are only working with 2 games here. I think we can exhaust those for now. And I kind of want to start with a few things I found interesting division wise before we move into maybe some World Series or MVP stuff. The division to win the World Series right now is usually intriguing to me, just in terms of who's in each. We got AL East at plus 225, NL West plus 255, NL East plus 350. I was laughed at when I suggested NL Central plus 1,000. So we won't get into that. But I do think the first 3 are interesting, and who we're talking about here, right? We're talking about AL East. I think we're pretty much talking about the Yanks and potentially the Blue Jays, if you believe their pitching will come along for the ride with that offense. NL West, I guess the reason, we're talking Stroh is not even leading the division right now, which is the reason I find it interesting too. If there's anyone, I don't want to call them crazy enough, but bold enough to bet on the AL West with the Stros leading the division. They're still the Stros not in third in the division. They're still minus 140 to come out on top on that one. Obviously, still only about 18 games are played or so. So nothing to freak out about, but just really, it's really about testing who you think is for real this early on, right? And that's really the question we're asking. So starting with the winning division, Mo, what do you like or dislike, if there's anything there in terms of the division between really the 3 that we think have a legit chance: AL East, the NL West, and I suppose I'll throw the NL East in there if you think that the Mets are legit at 14-6 right now, or if there potentially is someone else coming out of that one. I mean, the Marlins are in second, but I don't know that I would put them there as relevant to that conversation. So where do you start with this conversation?
Yeah, this market, nothing really jumped out at me. If I had to pick one, I might go for the NL East, honestly. Yeah. I mean, Braves could still clean it up. I like the Marlins in the preseason. And then, yeah, you're not going to like what I have to say, but kind of think the Mets plus 850 is the value play for a World Series market. So Man, when people believe in the Mets, nothing good ever happens.
Never a good sign.
Yeah, if you live on Narrative Street, Francisco Lindor plus 1,200 for NL MVP. It's not the most competitive field for NL MVP right now, and the way that they're turning things around in the Mets and the way how bad his first season was with them, that's a possibility along the lines of what Mo's saying there.
Yeah, and I mean, they're the team. I think it is between them, obviously, and I would say mostly the Braves, who I would believe in to turn things around. But yeah, I mean, the Mets off to the hot start with a variety of ways that they're beating people, and that rotation is just proving itself really in a way that we were all kind of looking for. The 3-4 headed monster that was at one point with Syndergaard and Matz, et cetera. So either way, I think there's some good juice on either three of those divisions. Just if you do believe in one of them more strongly than the other.
But here's the thing I'd say with I like the AL East, the thought that you're getting 4 horses in there. But I mean, only a couple can actually make it, and they just don't strike me as teams that are going to go the distance. The NL West, I do think you have 2 horses in the Dodgers and Giants that are very likely to win. But the Dodgers are so close to those odds already that why don't you just go ahead and bet the Giants, who are just routinely spat on by these sports books after winning 107 games and getting a rotten draw in the playoffs last year. I mean, just go ahead and bet the Giants at what they're still at like plus 1,200, plus 1,800 some spots. So that's a lot more value than betting this division. Although I do like these markets; they're pretty fun to analyze.
Well, let's look at it through the lens of the World Series odds for a minute, because I think you're right. I think even those division odds are just really fun to look at for me to start the conversation, to be honest. And really what we look at with the World Series here is because, like you're saying, just using these World Series odds as an example. LA Dodgers, right? We're talking plus 450. Giants, we're talking plus 1,700 right now as we're talking on a Wednesday night. So, either of those two teams are the ones we're talking about coming out of there. I mean, the pods are at plus 1,700. Either way, you put, so if you wanted to bet the division, because there are 3, legit teams, if you don't believe in the pods, now you're talking about just might as well take the 2. If you do believe the pods are as legit as the other ones, maybe you consider a division bet, but it's just interesting. So just finishing out to sort of the top 10-ish here, after the Dodgers, who are the favorite at plus 450, you've got Toronto plus 700, the Mets plus 850, the Yanks plus 900, leading that division right now, the Stros plus 1,100, Atlanta plus 1,200. Then you got the Sox, Milwaukee, the Giants, and the Pods, all between 1,400 and 1,700, right? So obviously it's sprinkled there, but obviously those 3 divisions that we talked about have the sort of top heavy, they're dominating the top of this list, right? So I guess just starting with sort of the keeping it going in that the NL West for a minute. I mean, Mo, do you have a particular favorite between the Dodgers and the Giants, knowing the Giants' odds are so great for you at plus 1,700?
Are you asking about World Series or to win the division? Well, out of those two, if I had to take a World Series play, I think I would probably take the Dodgers. A little bit disbelieving in the Giants, I guess, just compared to last year. I did think they had some talent loss. I think the loss of Buster Posey was pretty big. I do like their pitching quite a bit. Man, some in me just can't click on the favorite though, so I don't know. Not too interested in either one of those. I'm invested in the Blue Jays actually, if we're talking favorites. So got some plus 1,000 in the preseason. So good to see that the market still believes in them right now.
And you can ride what you're saying there and bet Vladdy to win AL MVP as long as Ohtani does not continue to pitch like an ace like he did last year. Which is a possibility, but they're being a little calmer with his innings right now. I mean, he's not producing at the plate. The Angels, if they suck again and the Blue Jays win this loaded division, and Vladdy's putting up even a better slash line than he did last year, I mean, he's going to vie for the Triple Crown in the AL. Like, I gotta lean towards him as a decent bet for plus 500.
Well, just humor me on that for one sec then for the AL MVP. What's the scenario that would need to happen for, Ohtani or even Trout, who are, I mean, the two of them are at the top here of the AL MVP odds. Is that just, there's no value there because they sort of gobble up each other's, votes in that sense? Or is it really, they play separately enough that you prefer one to the other and more likely to just get one of them is more likely to get votes? I guess, is there any value in either of the Angels at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd be banking on a little bit of voter fatigue in terms of Trout's won it 4 times. And also that, what are you just going to hand? If Ohtani doesn't put up otherworldly numbers like he did last year, where it was just a unanimous selection, of course, you're leading in home runs and you're an ace. If he doesn't do that again, then I don't know if voters are going to be like, we're just giving it to him because of the novelty that he plays multiple positions. Like are we just going to keep doing that when we've got a guy over here vying for the Triple Crown? Like let's maybe tip it the other way. I mean, we'll see. And anything can happen if they do work Ohtani too hard. Maybe he doesn't finish the season the way he did last year.
If you made me pick an AL MVP, I would probably honestly click on Byron Buxton 15-1 at FanDuel just in case he stayed healthy. If somebody could somehow come back from the time machine, don't even tell me the winner, and they just said Byron Buxton played healthy the rest of the year, I would put an unhealthy percent of my net worth on Byron Buxton. He has been unbelievably good.
Well, and those odds have definitely dropped there for you. I mean, they were plus 2,500 on the 6th of April. As we record this, it's the 27th. You say they're at 1,500 on DraftKings. So, his season and the way it's going, I mean, if he's going to win that MVP, they're probably not going to get much better before they're not going to get much worse. Basically, no, they are going to get worse for you. Essentially, is what I'm saying. At any rate, that is all the time we have for you guys. We'll continue to bring you some. Some of these futures and stuff in combo like this when we can, when we do have these tiny little night slates that give us some more time to talk about where we're at as this season rolls along. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page. Continue to check out each and every one of these videos we'll bring you during the weekday of this MLB regular season. And until we see you next, happy betting.